Like the Falcons played the Packers, and the Falcons played the Panthers. I think the Packers are better than a lot of people think.
Yes.
But neither of those teams are like super respectable or like wowing me to the point where I should be scared of the Falcons defense. He requested us to speak of the Falcons defense. Are you scared of the Falcons defense?
Not scared, but conscious of it.
Yeah.
Like it's real. I don't think, like I said, one game is a small sample size. When you go back to back with it, I'm going to say, all right, you're doing something. You know, stopping an NFL team is hard. It really is. We've had bad defenses here in Detroit, and even bad teams light you up when you have a bad defense. So, no, they do have a formidable defense. Their offense is coming along.
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned about their wide receivers. Yeah. I'm concerned about Bijan out of the backfield. I'm concerned about Pitts after what Disley did to us this week.
Yeah. I think... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, but Pitts hasn't done shit this season either, so I have no reason to be worried about him. Just it's my Lions PTSD right now kicking in. Yeah,
I think I'm more concerned about their offense only because I look at the teams they played against the Panthers, who we got to see Bryce Young on national television, kind of freeze up. At a certain point, I mean, I get he's a rookie, but you see where I think it was Miles Sanders had to push him over to line up alongside the center. He was like behind the guard at that point. Like, okay, you held that guy to 10 points. Cool. And then you went, and then Jordan Love, which by the way, I want my flowers when this whole thing goes down. We rank in the NFC North. I had Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings, which Bears, Vikings flip-flop. I don't care. They both suck. But I respect Jordan Love. This is a guy who's been in the same offensive system for, 3 years before finally getting a nod? And it was Aaron Rodgers who was holding them back.
Yep.
On top of that, they have hella weapons over there. He did perform, by the way, too, without Watson and A.J. Dillon, or Aaron Dillon, I'm sorry, against that Falcons defense. 3 touchdowns. I think the final score of that one was like 22-24 or whatever. But I guess reforecasting the landscape of the NFC North, how do you see them falling in line? Are you nervous for the Detroit Lions' chances to win with the upcoming Packers and injuries?
No, I think the Lions should have it on a lock. I look at them and I still see the most talent in the league. I still see the most proven team in the league. You know, that's the thing. The Lions proved it last year with their finish.
Yeah.
And they somewhat proved it a little bit by going to Kansas City. Then they kind of disproved it, but not really last week because of the way they lost once again to a Seattle team at home. But to me, the Lions, this is their division to lose.
Yeah.
You know, you have a rebuilding Packers team with a quarterback who sat behind Aaron Rodgers. That's your biggest competition. The Vikings look like they are a shell of themselves without Dalvin Cook. I mean, Mattison's not the guy. No. Ty Chandler behind him, not the guy. Jefferson is the guy, but outside of that, yeah, I like Addison a little bit. I don't think he complements as much as Thielen did with Jefferson, but that offense is okay. Their defense is not what it used to be. And then you got the Bears.
Yeah, dude. Fudge.
You thought Justin Fields was going to be a good quarterback.
Bro, they were
you thought you could rewrite history and be like, I'm going to take the Ohio State kid. He's going to be great for us. Like they never did before. And then all summer long, all I heard was, oh, we traded for a wide receiver. Our offense is going to be so... Justin Fields going to throw... And Justin Fields, the first 2 games, the 32 ranked quarterback in the league on QBR. He is awful. He is not a quarterback. The Lions should put in an offer and see if he can come fill in at running back for us next week, because that's all that kid is ever going to be in the NFL.
I like that idea.
You know what?
We're missing David Montgomery.
Send him a 4th rounder for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I'm okay. We'll Taysom Hill his ass, and we'll have him play all types of weird positions because he is a decent athlete. He just ain't a quarterback. Quit trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
And the fact that Chicago all summer long you saw my Twitter. You saw them trying to troll me. You saw them coming. I see them coming at you easy.
Yeah.
I hope these fans are sitting there like, oh my God, we got. They sold us on hopes of a Ohio State quarterback being the franchise guy. And they'll sit there and hang on to their Super Bowl from the 80s. Good for you. Nobody cares. Nobody was even born then, really. Like they have just as much relevance as the modern NFL as the Lions do. Just the Chicago fans. Oh, I would feel bad for you if you weren't such pricks.
The only time I found myself actually feeling bad for them is I saw a tweet and they're like, don't worry, guys. Like, Justin Fields has as many touchdowns at this point than he had like halfway through the season last year. It's an improvement. I'm like, what are you watching? This guy is not even debatable. Bad. He was awful at the quarterback position as of now. It's crazy too. I had this rant last week where I actually shit on the organization completely because first and foremost, by the way, I love former Detroit Lions Dan Orlovsky on ESPN.
Yeah,
Dan Orlovsky
fantastic.
had Justin Fields as an MVP candidate. Where? Why? Why did we give him that? That didn't prove us anything. They had the same thing with Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles, he traded the first round pick. No, I'm sorry, the first overall pick, I should say, for DJ Moore and some other stuff.
Well,
remember last couple years ago for Trey Lance, they had to give up 3 first-round picks to move it to 3?
Yep.
The Bears only got 1 first-round pick, or swap, I'm sorry, and DJ Moore
yep.
for the number 1 overall pick? And people try to say Ryan Poles finessed the Panthers? Get out of here. I've seen a 3rd overall pick over 3 first rounds. He didn't finesse nobody. And then he paid a linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, $85 million. After they traded away Roquan Smith, who's literally one of the best linebackers in the game. And guess what Roquan Smith signed for? Less than Tremaine Edmonds. I never got the hype around the Bears. I'm glad they look awful. I guess the only team...
Listen, they also traded up to get Trubisky at 2. So, like, what are you going to do with these guys?
Yeah.
They don't know what the hell they're doing over there, which is great for the Lions.
Yep.
It's great for the Lions. And I'll keep taking it as they give it to me. So, come on, Bears fans. Keep rooting for Justin Fields.
Yeah. Brian Boldy, who I love, breaks down a lot, obviously NFL. He works for NFL Network, former offensive lineman, if not mistaken. But he does breakdowns on Twitter. He had one today of Justin Fields. 4 seconds. The complaint the Bears fans had for him was like he never had time in the pocket. 4 straight seconds stick with a clean pocket. Didn't run. Didn't throw a ball. Ended up taking a sack. But we knew that. We were the ones telling you guys that Justin Fields and the Bears were going to be ass. The one I said it was kind of surprise ass. I love surprise ass, but
yeah. Is
the
there
Vikings,
any better kind?
There's no better kind of surprise ass. But the Minnesota Vikings last year they won 11 games by 1 score, and yes, they won the division. But the Detroit Lions whooped their ass in Minnesota because Dan Campbell made a poor, awful, his worst coaching decision in my opinion in that game. Lost that one. But the Minnesota Vikings were way overrated in my opinion, and I had no fear of them this year. And here they are. Losing those 1-score games they got the better of last year.
Yeah, I don't remember the specific numbers of the graphic that I saw, but Sunday they threw up the graphic of teams the following year after they won 7 or more games by 1 score. And it was like 2 teams had a winning record of like, a massive winning record. 2 more teams had a 500 record, and like 30 teams had losing records after those years.
Yep.
It was really interesting to see how those teams never trend up.
It's
very
fraudulent.
seldom trend up.
I mean, you're getting lucky winning those games. They had one game against the Bills last year where Josh Allen literally fumbled on their goal line. You remember that?
Yeah.
And the Justin Fields also had like the miraculous catch. Like that's not good coaching. That's one of those football situations where the ball just bounces your way sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what the Vikings seen time and time and over again last year. 11 times.
And listen, if the Lions had that happen to them, I'm not turning it down though. Like I'm not.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
No, I don't want to win by only 1 score. I'll take all the 1-score wins you can get. But yeah, it was a very interesting thing because you would think just by law of averages it would be even, right? Some teams trend up, some teams trend down, but no, like 90% went backwards. It was very interesting stat.
My big thing on this show, especially when it comes to football, more than almost any other sport, is the context of the situation. You and Adam had a debate about the guy who used to coach the Texans. I forget his name. Brian. He's the offensive coordinator of the Patriots.
Oh
now.
Yeah, O'Brien.
Bill
O'Brien.
Yeah. And you guys, he's a good head coach. And
I think he's a good head coach. Yep.
Give the context of the situation. The AFC South at that point was ass. For example, for my guy Cash Eights. He thinks his Falcons are really good. Context of the situation. You beat the Panthers and the Packers without Christian Watson and Aaron Jones. Like this context of the situation makes things look different. We look at the way the Vikings won those 11-0 games. The context was they kind of got lucky. And the Detroit Lions had one of those seasons too. I think we went like 10-9, and then we got us whooped in the playoffs by the Seattle Seahawks. We didn't beat anybody good that year to give you confidence in saying this is a good team. That's why the Lions hype I bought into, because the context of that 8-2 stretch they went on, they beat the Giants, they beat the Jaguars.
Yep. Playoff teams.
Yeah, they beat
Smacked
playoff
them.
teams.
Yep.
Smacked them too, by the way. The Giants and there was at their house.
Yep.
Same thing. The Jags came to our house, but we went to the Giants' house. Who won a playoff game?
Yep.
Beat the Vikings actually.
Yep.
Whooped their ass.
Yep.
Put our dick at the coffee table and ask for another sandwich. It's context. Just
Typical
look
Saturday
at numbers
night.
and think your team's going to be good or this guy's good. The context of it. Fuck the Atlanta Falcons. Cash Aids, I see you.
Yeah. Listen,
Lions.
the Lions have control of this division. It's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
If they fumble the bag this year against these teams,
there's something seriously wrong. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not getting into the Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes hot seat thing. I think that we're way far off from that. But this is an opportunity that they have to put their stamp and to put their legacy on the Lions, even if it's just a playoff berth this year. And let's say the Lions don't win, even if they're not hosting a playoff game. I'm okay as long as they're taking a step forward.
Yeah.
And a division championship plus a home playoff game is a major step forward. But then you got to go win that game too.
Packers are the only team that's starting to scare me a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because they're kind of doing this without Christian Watson and Aaron
Love's
Aaron
a good
Jones.
quarterback.
He is. I tried telling people that.
Green Bay knows what they're doing. Look, can we at least give Green Bay that credit?
Especially
Look what they
when it comes
did.
to quarterbacks.
Look what they did with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
They played that right. They probably held on to him a little too long, but they played that right behind Brett Favre. And now it looks like they did the right thing with Jordan Love, too. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the positions that it's okay to slow play a guy. Quarterback being one of them. Because think about Jordan Love is more than game day ready after how much practice he's put in. And just sitting there game after game after game watching Rodgers just saunter in whenever the hell he wants in preseason and just show up. And, he put in the work, so he deserves what he's getting right now.